That story by Adon Salazar is online at Infowars.com. We'll put that on screen, show some screenshots of those statistics for TV viewers. Again, radio listeners can go there and pull that up for themselves. But Wolfgang W. Halbig was a state police officer, then a customs enforcement officer, and then he went on to head up major university security, and then he runs one of the biggest school security, both college, but also K through 12 security programs. And he's been featured before going public, questioning Sandy Hook on Dateline NBC, Good Morning America. I'm not going to go over it all, but he really is a leading expert. When we started seeing him speak out in the last year, we went and checked into him. And Facebook.com/Sandy Hook Justice or SandyHookJustice.com. And he has gone up there. He has investigated. I want him to briefly recap. And by the way, if he wants a bunch of business, this is the opposite way to do it with government contracts to go and stir all this trouble up. And he's explained, I mean, he's been visited by the feds. He's been threatened. And that's when he really turned the heat up. So as an investigator, he knows when people are acting scared. They told him, they said, just stop looking. You need to quit looking, buddy. If there wasn't something there, they just laugh at him. And you look at the videos of the kids walking in circles in and out for the news cameras, and they come right out a minute later, it's the same ones. And, you know, they catch an anti-terrorism guy out in the bushes and say they didn't. And no, emergency helicopters were sent. And you've got the green screens with Anderson Cooper's nose disappearing, and it just goes on and on, on and on, on and on. Perfect timing. You got Bloomberg sending the email out the day before to get ready for a big event. That's mainstream news. But now, and again, we're going to pull the article up and put it on screen. In fact, if you scroll down, guys, I'll give them the headline. Thank you. FBI says no one killed at Sandy Hook. Agency publishes crime report showing 0 murders occurred in Newtown in 2012, even though that happened in December. And that's from the FBI crime statistics, which are unusually accurate. They're some of the best statistics out there. Don't believe me, just look into it, because they're compiled locally. Now, you could say it's a mistake, but it just adds to everything. And Wolfgang has been back up there. He's doing a serious investigation. He's been getting stonewalled, but has learned a lot. So, Wolfgang, recap the basic anomalies, and then give us what happened in your new investigation, and then let's talk about this new piece of evidence. Is it important, or can we get a response from the FBI? Thank you, Wolfgang, for joining us.
Well, you know, I did get a response. I called the New Haven FBI offices, and their response is, well, they've been asked by the Connecticut State Police not to put those numbers on their data sheet. Now, when has the state police ever told the FBI what to do? I mean, that's just unheard of. And, you know, you got to remember President Obama called the director, Robert Mueller, in those days, and he told Director Mueller to take direct charge of the investigation at Sandy Hook. Now today, because people have the courage to share this data with us, can you imagine no murders in Newtown in the year 2012? The FBI has to keep accurate records. They keep it for the whole country. Why do they do that? Because that's how the federal government allocates grant monies to states so they can fight violence. Now here's Sandy Hook. They've already got over $200 million. For what? There's nobody who died in 2012 in Newtown.
Incredible. What do you think's going on here? And then let's get into your new evidence, your second leg of your investigation.
Well, I think the big thing is that, you know, I forgot about it. I mean, I'm a FEMA-trained person. I really forgot about the Homeland Security under, there was a Senator, Lieberman. He's the one that was in charge of putting FEMA and Homeland Security under one umbrella, and they came up with this word capstone. Alex, the American people need to wake up and listen to what these exercises are. If Homeland Security, FEMA capstone exercise, it starts at the White House, at the president's desk, goes all the way through Congress, to the Attorney General, down through the FBI, all the way to the local government. It is a whole community event. And I think that's what happened at Sandy Hook. That's why when I just did a workshop for 200 school board members, and you know what they asked me? Well, how does the whole community involved in this? How in the world can you get a community that engaged? It's a capstone event. There's so much money now flowing into Newtown, it's unbelievable.
And if you've got control of the FBI and the agencies and the media, that you get them all involved in the corruption up front, it only involves really a few of the main controllers, maybe I would guess 100 people or so, and then everybody kind of saw the kids and saw a simulation, just like the Boston bombing. I mean, I had a former super high-level CIA guy who ran foreign operations on Steele last week, and he said, bottom line, and not just from the evidence, but from his sources, he said Boston and Sandy Hook were staged. Dr. Steve Pachinik ran the Camp David Accords, wrote the books with Tom Clancy. He's the Jack Ryan character. He's been in combat situations at least 10 times. And he said day one it was staged. I mean, these are heavy hitters saying this. Pachinik ran psychological warfare for the CIA, basically, in the Pentagon. He was above it from the State Department. Anybody that knows the State Department runs those. Runs the Army, you name it. That's where the actual orders come from. I've got a cousin in Black Ops, and he said, your show's absolutely accurate. Our orders come from the State Department, not even from the Pentagon. And so I knew it stunk. I mean, why would Anderson Cooper turn and be a green screen and his nose disappear? Why would they have kids going in and coming out clearly staged? I just didn't. Early on, I said, well, they had to have killed somebody. I mean, this doesn't make sense. Then parents come out and start laughing and then turn to the camera and cry. I mean, this stinks to high heaven. This is what you do. Tell us why you question up front, recapping for new listeners, and then get into, I know you went back and visited recently, and tell us what happened.
Well, you know, the big thing that we found is we actually found the only footage, live footage, shot by a helicopter. It's the only footage, Alex, that has a timestamp on it. When you see the people chasing each other in the woods. Remember, that's what CNN really did. They try to hook everybody, and they're showing these people running into the woods because guess what? They announced that a teacher just reported seeing two shadows running by the gym. Well, Alex, that footage was not shot till 12:23 in the afternoon. Now, why would you chase somebody in the woods after lunch? The school was safe and secure by 10:35. These are all scripted events. These were events that were specially shot, filmed, choreographed for CNN to have fun with it.
Absolutely, and we caught them with the blue screen, and CNN's been caught faking stuff before. But let's go back to the beginning. As a top, I mean, you got to be in the top 5 on-record experts on school security in the country. You buy into it at first. I mean, I remember you saying that, and then you start to have questions.
Bought into it. But you know what? When I woke up is when I realized there were no trauma helicopters. At Hartford, they could have put trauma doctors knowing that
you got a bunch of kids shot. You don't even ask questions. Default helicopters launch.
They're gone. You know what? And the thing is, I even called Lifestar. What upset Lifestar is they never got a call, even asking them to stand by. And then and who announced who said that all these children and teachers are dead within 11 minutes? That's unheard of.
Well, that was like Breitbart. Within 1 hour of him going to the hospital, they announced he was dead, natural causes.
Yeah, but who does that for children? You know, the pediatric protocols tell us that if you have a child who's shot at home or in the school, boy, you transport him and you get him to the hospital as quickly as possible. That never happened. And then we're, like you said, we're the 600 other kids. We can't find 600 kids. Where are they? I mean,
why did they tear the school down? Why didn't they let anybody in? Why are they keeping all the records so secret?
Well, I think because, you know, people forget. On the headlines in the Hartford Courant, they showed where Sandy Hook was loaded with toxic. It was a toxic waste dump. Alex, it's a toxic waste dump. Who would send their children to that kind of school? And that school, based on the photographs by the crime scene technicians from the Connecticut State Police, it is the filthiest, the most deplorable school that I, as a principal, have ever seen.
Sure, it was only used as a cutout. It had been closed until right before they reopened it for this event.
And that's why when I do my FOIA request, one of the things I've learned as an administrator, show me the work orders beginning May the 1st through December the 13th, 2012.
Show me the custodial. Show me that there's nothing. It's a cutout.
There's nothing. And for 15 months, Alex, the school board refuses to call me back. They refuse to answer the questions. I've spent over $15,000 trying to get FOIA request answers. And guess what? Not one response.
Yeah, why don't they just release it and shut you up?
I'd go away.
You know, I don't want this to have ever happened, but I wish it was real instead of fake. That is 100 times more scary.
Yep. You know what? I agree with you right there. I wish it was real. I wish I would just go away. It's affected my entire family. It's affected my lifestyle. I do this for a living. And, you know, when people ask me, I've got to tell them the truth about what happened. I was at Columbine. We learned active shooter training. I see nothing at Sandy Hook that even remotely looks close.
In fact, I was looking you up. That's why you were on Good Morning America and all this stuff. Didn't you help develop everything we see today?
Yes, emergency management plan. We came out with the first color-coded emergency plan. We sold it across the country. Even where Obama sends his kids, Sidwell Friends, they actually bought this emergency management plan from me. And, I mean, now they have Secret Service, of course, but I've been in 1,000 different school districts all across the country.
And let me guess, coming out with something, I bet this is cut into your business.
It has. I've been black.
See, you're the perfect witness. You got this great record, national expert. You see it. You have integrity. You tell the truth. And I bet it got you blackballed. But it didn't get you blackballed with God, though. Or with all the parents out there that appreciate you and all the gun owners that appreciate you. Because this was clearly their PR false flag. Listen, Obama has been caught at least 6 times staging fake shootings, fake bombings, and chemical attacks. It's even been in the BBC that NATO and Turkey were involved staging false flags. This is mainstream news. So if they'll stage false flags or launch a chemical attack that kills civilians to blame Assad and the army, would they stage something in America to get our guns? You'd have to be, if they'd stage Fast and Furious that they admit killed 2,000 plus Mexicans, over 100 law enforcement in Mexico, at least 6 law enforcement in this country, 2 of them Border Patrol, to blame the Second Amendment as CBS News found the secret documents leaked by good members of the ATF. If they would do that, would they stage this? Wolfgang.
Can I tell you what? If we allow this to stand and if we don't challenge it, who's going to be next? What are they going to do next to us? And I think this government thinks people are not smart enough to figure it out. And I thank God that you're there, Alex, because you got the voice and you can reach people. I'm disappointed in the NRA. I've asked them for financial help, donations, so we can file our first civil lawsuit. If you were in my house today, Alex, I'll show you all the evidence that 2 Connecticut state troopers gave to me. They showed me the script they used on that day. They used a script. And there's a company called...
Let's stop right there. The amount of evidence you've gotten, and you've been threatened. Recap the threats and then tell you what those state troopers gave you.
Well, the threats are, you and I would never be talking if they didn't send those 2 homicide investigators. And I'm going to tell you what, they threatened me. They said if I don't stop asking questions about Sandy Hook, the Connecticut State Police were coming to my home and they're going to arrest me. Then I had 2 deputy sheriffs come to my house telling me that the Newtown police chief wants to know when I'm coming to Newtown. And then they asked if I owned any handguns. I said, it's none of y'all's business. And then I got a phone call from the sergeant from the Southbury Police Department telling me that I never, ever need to call the Chatfield Porta Potty Company again and asking who ordered the porta potties, when were they ordered, and who paid for them. They said, stop harassing the porta potty company. That's public record. This paid for with taxpayer dollars.
They're trying to block your investigation.
Every step. And I think, Alex, we do have a solution, and I just hope people would help me. I was hoping the NRA would help us. I was hoping Larry LaPratt would step up. And the civil lawsuit is going to expose it. And
we're going to talk about that in the next segment, but let's get into what these state troopers gave you.
Well, the state trooper showed me where the script is within the 11,000-page document. You know, the Sandy Hook Commission, the governor appointed, they actually called this 11,000-page document the biggest data dump that the Connecticut State Police and Stephen Sudensky, the Danbury State Attorney, they created the biggest data dump. It doesn't make any sense. You'll spend the rest of your life trying to read it to try to understand it.
Sure, I mean, that's a tactic in depositions, is to dump so much on people they can't.
And they did, and they dumped it. So when I flew up to Hartford, Connecticut, I met with 2 Connecticut troopers, and they trusted me because they were in my class. I was their instructor in 2002, and they said, Wolfgang, we don't like what they're doing in Connecticut. They're corrupt. It's nothing but corruption in Connecticut. And you know what? They don't work up there anymore. They quit after we met. They're tired of it. They're scared.